Hello and welcome to Northeast Today's live session with me, Debushri Adhikari. Our guest of the evening doesn't need an introduction. He is a renowned name in the Indian film industry. He has also won a national award for sound designing, and he is a very popular name in the Indian cinema. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today Amrit Pritam Dutta. So let us give him a very warm welcome. Hello, sir. Welcome to Northeast Today's live session. We are
Hi.
so pleased to have you. We were long awaiting for this, looking forward to this session, and it's finally happening. So thank you so much. We know you have a very busy schedule, but you still took time out for us. So thank you very much for appearing on our today's session and for our guest.
Thank you very much for giving me this fantastic platform to reach all the people of Northeast.
Thank you again, sir. And so, before we proceed with our question and answer round, we have actually made a video on you and all of the
Okay.
achievements that you have achieved throughout this year. So, would you like to see that first?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Let's watch the video first. Amrit Pritam Dutta is a National Film Award winning sound designer, born and raised in Assam's Jorhat district. After completing his education in 2002, Mr. Dutta moved to Mumbai and started working in films as a FX Foley track layer, dialogue cleaner, premixer, production mixer, and sound editor. Amrit Pritam has worked in the sound department of over 140 films in a variety of languages like Hindi, English, Assamese, Malayalam, Tamil, Marathi, Telugu, Kannada, Gujarati, Khasi, Bodo, Dimasa, and Tiwa. Many of these films have won the National Film Awards as well as awards in international film festivals in a variety of categories, and some went on to become super box office hits. Amrit Pritam Dutta has worked closely with Resul Pookutty in the Oscar-winning Slumdog Millionaire. Apart from this, Mr. Dutta worked as a sound designer in a number of renowned movies like Kaabil, Highway, Ra.One, Chittagong, Ghajini, Blue, English Vinglish, Margarita with a Straw, Akhondeki, A Rainy Day, Omkara, Black, Makbul, Mangal Pandey, India's Daughter, PK, to name a few. He is also a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, also known as the Oscar, as well as the Motion Picture Sound Editors USA. Not just this, Amrit Pritam Dutta has also been conferred with awards by the state governments of Assam, Goa, and Maharashtra. With his uncountable achievements, Amrit Pritam continues to make the entire Northeast and the country proud. Wow, so you have so many achievements and awards. I had a hard time remembering, memorizing all the awards and so many. You have worked in so many films. How has the journey been?
hmm See, journey in the sense like because after I passed out from film school from Jyoti Citron Film and Television Institute, which is presently known as Dr. Bhupen Hazarika Regional Golf Film and Television Institute. So this when in our time it was named as Jyoti Citron Film and Television Institute. So after I did my graduation in physics, then I joined Jyoti Citron Film and Television Institute for my 3 years sound engineering course. And after completing that, I just came to Bombay, and then after struggling almost an year for getting job, finally I found a job at a studio called Fireflies Postal, and then my journey started since then.
Okay, and sir, did you always want to be a sound designer? Because it's an unconventional field, and you studied in physics first, and then you got into sound designing. So how did it happen?
To be very honest, I never thought that I would ever be into the film industry. Like sound designing is never my thought. Like, I never thought about like, I want to do sound design or something like that. Because when I was doing my graduation in physics, actually, I wanted to do masters in physics. Especially, I wanted to take nuclear physics as a special paper. But after my graduation, actually, that institute came up that we were the first batch actually in 1999, and then
Okay.
advertise came for its applications and other stuff. So my elder brother, Bhagav Pritam, who is a musician plus actor who has been working in film industry for so long, so he basically advised me to go for this one. And then also when I applied for it, and then I got selected. After I got selected, actually my father pressurized me. Both my elder brother Bhagav Pritam and then another brother opposite Pritam, and especially my father. Um, pressurized me in no, let's go for this, and then instead of going for a masters, so you should join this one. So that's how I joined my film school in GTC Ra.One. It was in 1999 to the January 1999, and then now you can see where I am standing.
Yeah. And so coming from Assam, like then you went to Mumbai, that's far off places, different culture, different kinds of people. So were there any challenges that you faced in the beginning of your career?
Oh, that's absolutely because we have to adopt a new work environment, right? So Bombay is completely different than any cities in India. Forget about Assam. So you were like, when you come to Bombay, you can see like most of the time people are running from one place to another. Like, nobody has time to even stop and talk or something like that. So when we came, myself and Devajit Sangmai, so I'm very proud of him. He's one of the best. Film mix engineer in India. So he is my batchmate. So Devojit and I came together to Mumbai for looking for a job, but it was very difficult to get a job at that period of time because we came for film sound work. Because there are so many Assamese or so many people from Northeast who has been doing good or who was doing very good in music industry, but there was nobody as far as film sound is concerned. So myself and Deposit came for it, and then finally it was very very difficult to get a job because I was struggling for a year. I was struggling for a year to get my first job, so I was not earning a penny during that period of time. And there was it also, he was also struggled a lot, almost 3 or 4 months. So finally, after I think after 6 months, there was it got his first job. Then again, I waited for another 6 months, and then finally, after 1 year, I got my first job at Fireflies Post on. Before that, I got a chance to work in Karan Johar's Kal Ho Na Ho. I worked for that film almost for 25 or 30 days, and then that was my beginning. After that, I joined a studio called Fireflies, which is a wonderful studio. And then from there, actually, I learned ABCD of sound editing, sound design, and pre-mixing, and all my education, basic like professional education, started at Fireflies before after my passed out from the film school.
And also, so like getting shot at Karan Johar's movie, like Kaluna movie, as we all know, is a big blockbuster Hindi movie. So, what was your initial reaction? When you got to know that you'd be a part of the post production team.
That was actually quite strange because I was looking for a job almost for a year, and then finally, I got the chance to work in that film. Actually, there's another guy. I must have to take his name for his help. His name is Rajmule, Mr. Rajmule. So he immensely helped us, both me and Devajit. So he was the guy who gave me the chance to work in that film. Actually, I worked in that film from his angle, like, because he's the one who sent me to join that sound team, and then finally I assisted Mr. Anuj Mathur. Now he is a film mix engineer at Yasras Studios. So I worked for that film for 25 days or 30 days. That was happening in January 1999. And then the first time I be there in that particular environment, like where that big big production house was going on, like shoot is going on, and I can see like big stars, like I saw
Mm.
Shahrukh Khan. I
Oh my
I saw, I saw all those guys,
God.
Saif Ali Khan, and then I saw Preeti Zinta so closely. It was like,
Yeah.
it is like, it is very difficult to express with proper words, because at that period of time, because I was too new to
Mhm.
Bombay, and then I was struggling, and then suddenly I was in a platform where I can see all those guys very closely and very casually. So that
Yeah.
was really one of the beautiful moment of life. So I would never forget about that.
Yeah, that must be really like I people would freak out if they see a Shah Rukh Khan in front of them or something. So I can imagine it must be a really wonderful journey. And also, sir, you have received so many awards in your career. For our next question, we have a picture of yours receiving an award, and Srimati Pratibha Patil is also on the picture. So could you?
Okay.
I would like to request our technical team to show the picture on the screen. And meanwhile, sir, could you tell us about what was happening there?
What is happening in the sense, like in Bombay now? Presently, you're
No,
talking
no,
about,
no,
or
no, sir. Like we have a picture of you. You were
okay,
receiving an award from
okay,
Srimati.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Could you tell us about that a bit?
Once I see the picture, then I can explain to you, like what is actually happening at that period of time. So yes, yes. Oh, this,
Yeah. This is
uh, this is my first national award, and it was way back in 2009. So I received that national award from the president of India at that time, Pratima Singh Patil Dev, and it was for a Malayalam film, Kerala Raja Parasi Burma, and it was for best sound design. Yeah, that is the first time I received that one from the President of India, and it was one of the most precious time of my life. And when I was receiving this, and my parents was sitting just behind me within the same
oh,
Bigyan Bhavan. That was a
oh,
great moment of my life. Yeah, yeah. I brought my parents to. I brought my parents to Delhi, and they was sitting just behind me within the same venue.
yeah, that must be a wonderful experience. And like, what were their reaction? What were they doing when of course, President is such a big honor?
It was indeed a great moment for them too, because their youngest son was, receiving award from the president of the nation. So that was
Yeah.
indeed a great moment for them, and also they can, they managed to see lots of big stars from the film industry
Yeah.
who also, received their national award for that particular year. So it was indeed a great moment for them, actually, because when their son is doing something, so they might be happy. Yeah.
Of course, of course. And you have also worked with Bollywood as well as Hollywood movies. So, which one would you say is more rigorous or stressful, for people?
See, when you talk about rigorous or like stressful, actually both industries runs the same way. But there may be some kind of relaxation in terms of Hollywood is concerned, because here when we do in India, so we don't have any concept of holidays. Like there is no concept of Saturday or Sunday or something like that. Number one, but when you do any work, any post production work, I'm not talking about location sound, or I'm not talking about a shoot, because shoot there is no specific time for whether it is Hollywood film, whether it is Bollywood film. If there is shoot is happening, so there is no specific time for that. Depending on the situation of the script, you might have to come at the 4 o'clock in the morning. You have to come at the 3 o'clock in the morning, or you might have to work throughout the night. Is depending on the script. Okay, so that is for same for all the all for Hollywood, or maybe Bollywood, or maybe for all industries, because as far as location shoot is concerned. But when you come back to post productions, like sound editing, sound dubbing, or sound mixing, or re-recording, or something like that, then it's vast different between Bollywood and Hollywood. First of all, the quality is different. Like because in Bollywood and Hollywood, if you are going to compare the qualities, definitely Hollywood is far, far, far ahead of Bollywood. And when you talk about working culture, that is also different, because in Bollywood or in Mumbai film industry, there is no specific time. There is no specific time for anybody, because you have to work around the clock, because it is all depending on the deadline, because they already decided about the deadline, decided about the release date. So after that, you know that the film is going to be released on 25th or 26th, or 27th, or 28th, whatever it is, you know the dates. So that in that way you have to finish your job as early as possible, and for that you might have enough time, good enough time you can get for Hollywood films. But for Bollywood film you hardly have any time, because suppose practically if you need 3 months to complete a film, and if you are getting out of 3 months, if you are getting only 1 month, that means you have to overwork, you have to work round the clock. So when you work in Bollywood, so there is no concept of Saturdays, there is no concept of weekend, there is no concept of Sundays or something like that. But in Hollywood, there is a strict holiday for Saturday and Sunday, and
Yeah.
also they don't work for overtime. So there is no concept of overtime in Hollywood, because basically nobody wants to work after 6 o'clock. But here in Bollywood, you have to work around the clock. So
Oh my God, that
that's the
it sounds.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but like most people assume that it would be tougher in Hollywood as compared to Bollywood, no? But it's actually coming, listening to you, people are getting to know that it's the other way around, and a lot of work, like a lot of work goes into like the movie making, right? Like sound designing and script writing and everything. What we see on the screen, like it seems easy, but like how complex is the process?
Complex in the process, like you want to know about the filmmaking process or
Post
something.
production in terms of sound designing and everything.
See, sound designing, like when you talk about sound design or when you talk about post production work for sound, it is depend on the film. It's depend on the film, because there may be, sometimes some film might need 1 month or maybe 45 days to complete, and some film might take 6 months or 9 months, depending on the content of the film. Because, like, if the film has huge, lots of actions and other stuff, lots of movements and lots of things are happening, then it takes more time to complete it, and you need more people to complete the film. Because when you do a film like Ra.One, like, a film like Ra.One, or a film like Ghajini, or film like Indiran the Robot, or film like 2.0, recently released 2.0, or film like Kick. So these films are filled with lots of heavy actions and also lots of VFX. Like, suppose if I'm going to talk about Ra.One and Indiran and then 2.0, this three film has a huge amount of VFX. So if I am talk about the post production work about those films, then it takes lots of time, because lots of innovative ideas you need to think about to create those sound design, because it is a VFX. So those visuals have never existed before. So it is always, the VFX artists imagine something and then they create a new ideas and new creation. So accordingly, you have to imagine among the sound, what kind of sound you are going to feed in, so that, like, that image can be make you alive, like, for the audience. So in that case, when you talk about the post production work or challenging, it's depending on individual films, like how the films is moving on, what are the content, what are the things that is shown in the visual. So it's depending on that. Apart from that, sometimes even, very low budget independent filmmakers film, like, very low budget independent film, like maybe Assamese film, or maybe Khashi film, or maybe Manipur film, might need more time than a Bollywood film, because it has a lot of work. When people maybe think they're talking about, like, अरे ये तो रीजनल फिल्म है, और ये रीजनल फिल्म है, ये खासी फिल्म है, इसमें
Okay.
क्या है, और ये तो असमीज फिल्म है, क्या है, गाँव ही दिखाता है. It is not like that. This film needed more time to do polish sound design than average a Hindi film, Bollywood Hindi film.
Okay, that is a lot of work. And also, so what was your involvement like with Ra.One movie?
See, Ra.One, in the sense, like, I was doing the design of the Ra.One. Apart from sound editing of the film, I was also doing the design of the film. And in terms of Ra.One, so if you go again, if you went back to to that flame, what you can see, like, there are huge amount of VFX, like the character which is called Ra.One in that flame, it itself is a virtual character. So that character
Yes.
is formed with the help of some millions of electromagnetic particles. So millions of electromagnetic particles are just coming and then, forming. They're just coming and then attracting each other, and then they're forming the character which is called Ra.One. So this is completely is it is completely correct. It is completely made
Mhm.
realistic way. If you can see, so a man cannot be formed with them electromagnetic particles. So so when those things happening in the
Mhm.
film, or when those films are happening and audience are watching on the screen, so that means you have to create the sound in such a way so that audience can feel that that character is forming, the character formation is happening. So that only can you can make out by using proper sound design, to proper absolute sound design, so that like in that case, like we have to use lots of different particle sounds, and lots of processing is happening. When I'm talking about processing, it is called audio processing. So we use some kind of plugins. The plugins means like there is some kind of softwares. We're using that and then making some different particle sounds, and we combine each after another, and we're creating all those sounds like that. So if if any film has maximum VFX, then it's a huge amount of work for us, because you can see the VFX, but that VFX cannot be alive until and unless you are not going to feed in with proper sound into it. Like suppose Jurassic Park. So Jurassic Park, that entire dinosaur is a fake one. Entire dinosaur was computer generated dinosaur. It is made by the VFX artist, right? Until and unless you are not going to add the sound of the dinosaur sound, and then dinosaur is moving, walking, eating, doing all this distraction, then you cannot make that dinosaur alive. Like when you are watching the film in the theater, you can feel, oh my god, the dinosaurs is still exist.
Mhm.
That
Exactly.
existence is happening. That existence of that particular virtual dinosaur, which is a fake, which is made by the computers with the help of computers, only can be alive to the audience after putting, adding proper sound into it. So that's why whatever any Hollywood films you can see, if you see any Star Wars films, or any today's like Lord of the Rings, or any like Avatar,
Yeah.
all those sounds, there is no sound in it. It is all computer graphics, and it is all VFX, right? So it make it alive. When you're watching the film, you get all those excitement, like you're getting all those excitement. You are maybe laughing, you're maybe getting excited. All those are happening. All those emotional changes that happening in your mind when you're watching a film is happening because you are listening the sound. The problem is you can't see sound, you can only listen to it. So that means when you are watching a film, your mind is completely dominated by the visuals that you're watching, and that psychological reaction that is happening. You are crying, you are laughing, or you are getting excited,
Yeah.
all happening because you are listening the sound. You are listening the sound that is come to your brain, and accordingly your mood is changing. You're crying, you're laughing, you're doing all kind of exercise, but you're heavily dominated by the visuals. So that's why people doesn't know that all those emotional blackmailing is happening because of sound.
So sound actually plays a really important part that many people they don't realize it, but it actually plays a very important part. And sir, like you were talking about Ra.One earlier, so there are many
Mhm,
scenes in Ra.One where cars are crashing, flipping over, and Ra.One and G.One
mhm,
they're flying
mhm,
on top of buildings.
mhm,
So how do
mhm.
you like record those sounds of cars crashing with each other and everything?
See, yeah, especially Ra.One, especially when I was doing the Ra.One along with Rasul. So we went for recording sound, like all those cars smashing and other stuff was happening. What you can see in the film, that is actually we went there to Film City, and then we brought one or two bad cars, and then we recorded that car. We smashed that car. We rolling that car, and then we recorded that sound from there. Apart from that, we also take the help from libraries, because we have different kind of sound libraries. Like you have a book library, so we can have we have the same kind of uh, sound library. So
Sound
from there
library.
also we collected, yeah, we also collected lots of sound from there. Some sounds we already recorded, and we were getting help from the Foley artist. So we all combined together one after another, and we created those sounds. So it is not about like you placing some sound or something like that. It is very meticulous work. So it is always you have to work frame by frame. So
Hmm. And
yeah, please go ahead.
no, 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 sir, you were saying, please continue.
Yeah. So for example, suppose if you can see a one car is rolling, so that means
Hmm.
for to create that sound, you might need to add some 10 or different sound all together and make it like that. So like
Okay.
if even if you are saying that a one car is just coming and stop, like one car is come very fast and stop in front of you and banging
Hmm.
horn, you might see like only one car is coming and stopping, but to create
Hmm.
that sound we might need to add more than 10 or 15 different sound samples. Maybe the car coming, so there may be two or three different speed, then the
Hmm.
screech of the tire, then the brake
Hmm.
applied, so then the car comes to halt. All those you combine together and making only one sound. So to create one sound we might need to add some 10 or 15 different sound. But
Oh, wow.
here, the biggest thing is that it is not about adding sound, or it is not about numbers of sound you're adding it. So
Hmm.
some people may think that adding like one after another and one after another, it can create a good sound. It's not like about that. So when you are going to add sound one after another, so you have to think and listen and think and listen very carefully, so that
Hmm.
whatever you are creating it should be justify to the audience, because audience should feel that really these things are happening. So it is not about like piling up one after another sound, but we have to do very carefully, so that when we do those kind of sounds, so you have to spend a lot of time to listening into it. So like after listening, then we bring proper sound and then we adding it. It's like that.
Okay, so my God, that sounds like a lot of work and time that must
See,
go into.
I'm telling you, like, suppose first we only do the movements of the car. So our working principle is like that. Suppose whatever movement you can see, we only use the movement of the car. Then we are going to add the screech of the car, like all taking turnings and braking and speed and all this stuff. Then we go for whatever bike sound is there. So like if bike and car sounds are going together, then we
Hmm.
don't work all this together. Like first we complete the car. After we completing the car, then we come back and we start working on the vehicle, the bike. So once we finish the bike, that means our car and bike are done. After that, we go for the all smashing sound, like whether car is smashing, bike is rolling, or glass is smashing here and there, or some other vehicles are coming. Then we work the other vehicles later. It is like that. So it is all the procedure is one after another. Like first we finish the car, then we finish the bike, then main car and main bike, then we go for the passings, rest of the other cars, then we go for the banging and then smashing all this stuff. So it is like that. So it is like a one after another step by step work to complete such kind of things.
Yeah, that and also, so that must take a lot of time. Also, no, like you mentioned, it must take like 3 months or 45 days. Sounds like a lot of
Yeah,
work.
the 45 days is quite a very short period of time. Like film like Ra.One is definitely take like 5 to 6 months for completing the film. And even like
And
Ghajini was taking almost 4 months
oh God, okay,
for.
that's
Mhm,
okay.
mhm,
And so you earlier also mentioned that you worked with a renowned, a sound designer of India that we know, Resul Pookutty. So,
mhm, mhm,
he also worked for the film Slumdog Millionaire. So,
mhm.
what was your experience working with him?
See, it was experience in the sense like it is not about like I'm just working with him for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 films. Actually, I have been working with him since 2002. It is almost
Okay,
19 years now. So
yeah, long.
I started my I so when I was doing my basic learning about sound editing and sound editing. at that period of time, like way back in 2002. So then I got the chance to meet him, and then the place where I used to work, like Firefly Sports on, there he used to come frequently and then walk there. So that's how I came to know about him. And then after spending almost 5.5 years in that particular studio, and also involved in 15-20 films, then I came out from that studio, and then he just requested me ki if I am interested to work with him. And then we set up one studio called Canary Sports Sound. So since then I have been working in Canary Sports Sound only, and then we have been working together. Like we have been working together and designing so many films since then. Like since 2007, I have been for sound design.
Oh, that's wonderful, sir. And also, we can see a picture on the screen of yours with him, and you're receiving an
Hmm.
award. Could you tell us about this?
That one actually my first ever IFI Award, International Film
Oh,
Academy,
wow.
International Indian Film Academy Award. So that was
Hmm.
a IFI Award, and that was in 2009 in Macau.
Hmm.
So we got that IFI Award for Ghajini sound design. So both Rasul and me went together there, and then we received that beautiful award. And those
Oh,
period of
that's
time, like it's almost 2009, almost 12 years back.
That's so nice. So congratulations for that. And also, we have another picture of yours with him, and you both of you an award with it. So, what was this about?
You can see, like that is Oscar. I'm so I was holding the Oscar. That was just after Rasul won the Oscar award. So I think it
Hmm.
was in 2009 or 2000, yeah, 2009 Feb. I think 2009 February or something like that.
Hmm.
So after he came back from US after winning this award, so I was just holding that our Oscar, and it was at our studio, Canary Sports Sound, in 2009. So that was actually Oscar. I was so fortunate. I was so lucky
Yeah.
to touch that one of the greatest statue. So one of the greatest um, award for filmmakers. And I was also immensely happy because I was also involved in on Slumdog Millionaire. I was working as a assistant location
Okay.
recordist to Rasul. So I was actually assisting Rasul at that particular film, and
Hmm.
he got the award for that sound mixing, where I also assisted him. So it is indeed a very close to me.
Okay. And so you also won another national a national award for your work in, like you mentioned in the beginning of the interview, for
Hmm.
Malayalam film Kerala Varma.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
and so could you tell us about it, and how was it working in the Malayalam industry?
See, I no need to tell about like Malayalam industry, because they are the one who actually producing one of the great films.
Yeah.
Every year they're producing almost 10 to 15 wonderful films, like wonderful films,
Yeah.
and their films, their films are going everywhere. Like their films are representing many wonderful big festivals, international film
Hmm.
festivals around the world. So I got the chance to work in that particular film just because of Rasul, because Rasul is originally from Kerala. He's a Malayali, so he's from Kerala, and that's how that film came to us. And then I got the opportunity to work in that particular film, and then it was indeed a challenging work at that period of time, because it was in 2008, and then the film, the story of the film, that Kerala Burma, it is based in, I think, 17th century, so almost 300 years back. So
Hmm.
the entire story was based in that 17th century. So that when we were doing the sound design, so we went back to, we have to go back to that particular period. So we went through lots of studies and all, and accordingly we created all those gun sounds like the British used at those period of time, like doom 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 kind of things,
Yeah.
and and those rest of the others are tribals, like so it was actually basically a fight between the tribals and the British for the uh, uh, independence.
Yeah.
It is way
Freedom.
back in 17th century, and then Kerala Brahma Raja was the king, and then he was leading that fight against the British with the help of those tribal. So that means that fight was happening between the British and then the tribals, who has only yeah, bows and arrows and all this stuff. So,
Hmm.
so it was a very interesting in that period of time, and very interesting and very tough film at that period of time, because we went through lots of permutation combination about creating the sound. Because one way we have to create all those arrows and bows and everything, then sword fight and other stuff, and the other way we have to go back to the British era of 17th century, when they are
Yeah.
using their guns, like
Hmm.
the rifles, big rifles. I think it was, the film was based in 1795. I think after 58, yeah, 19 to 1758. So
Okay.
and but when we do periodic film, like when you come back to the history, like any film that is based on history, like whether it is 1940 or 1950 or 19th century or 18th century, then it's very difficult to do the sound design, because you
Hmm.
have to create something that it's really reflect that period of time. And whatever, suppose you, in whatever ambience we recorded now, it has lots of sounds, like lots of sound in the sense, like lots of modern sound, like but when you
Hmm.
go back to 18th century, there was no traffic, there was no horns or bikes or even bicycle. So you
Hmm.
have to go back to, you have to go back in the sense, like your mind have to go back when you're walk, maybe you're walking at 21st century, but your mind has to be, go back to 17th century or 18th century or 1940s or something like that. So that accordingly you have to think, and accordingly you have to execute your sound to reflect that particular period. So it is always difficult to do periodic film, and the Parasite was indeed a very tough film for me. And yeah, and that film gave me the national award.
And sir, you're also a member of Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences, which
Hmm.
organizes the annual Oscar Awards, as we know. So, what are your duties there, like as part of a big part of this committee?
Okay. First of all, let me tell you that, like it is one of the biggest moment of my life to being included into the academy membership, because being a member of the Oscar, it's a great honor, and it's very few people are getting
Of
chance
course,
to.
sir. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and also I'm telling you, okay, it is not about, like you're applying a form and then they will select you or something like that. So these things only happens by, somebody has to introduce you to them.
Hmm.
So somebody has to introduce you after introduction. So they gone through all the process in this, like they are going through about your resume, they're going to about your work, they also going to about the quality of work that you involve so far.
Hmm.
After depending on that only, they find like whether you are eligible for it or not. So if they find it, like this man or this person or this gentleman is eligible for their membership, then only they offer the membership. So finally they invite you to join them, and then accordingly you will join. So after joining the academy, or after being a member of the Oscar, so you have the voting right. You have the voting right for the
Okay.
Oscar award. So whatever Oscar award you have been, you know, watching on
Hmm.
TV or something like that. So uh, each and every member of this organization, like a member of the academy, are
Hmm.
eligible for voting. So in that process, I have been voting for Oscar award since 2017. So since 2017, whatever um, award is happening since
Hmm.
2007, so my vote is there.
Okay.
So for that, so for voting, what they do, like they are sending all the films that are eligible for the Oscars. So finally,
Hmm.
they shortlisted, like numbers of films, and they send all the films to each and every member across the world.
Oh,
So
wow.
that may be 150 or 180 films. So they are sending all the members by like in the form of Blu-ray. So they are sending Blu-rays of
Hmm.
all the films which are not even released, and
Yeah.
you have to watch those film at your home or at your home theater or at your studio, and finally you have to vote for it. So the vote is happening digitally on the internet, so a particular date is there, so you have to sit for this and then you have to vote for it. So before voting, you have to watch all the films. Like,
Hmm.
after watching all the films, first of all, the voting is happening for two times. First of all, the voting is happening only for the nominations. Okay, so after nomination, say like they may have, yeah, they are nominating almost like 50 to 55 films per year. So first voting is happening for the nominations. So after that nomination is happening, that they will go for the second voting. So second voting generally start in mid December to Jan. So mid December to Jan. So you have to involve in the voting process, and before that you have to watch the rest of the films, and after that you have to vote it, and finally the result is coming and what you can see on the screen. So it's like
Yeah,
that.
and
So
uh, no, no, sir. I was saying I don't think anybody from Assam has been a part of this academy, so it's like a really big deal for all the people of Assam, and a very proud moment for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually to getting into the Oscars, to getting into the Academy is indeed a very, very tough thing, because you may have been working for 20 years, even maybe you have been working for 30 years, but you may not get the chance to be a member of the Oscars or Academy, because they don't go for the numbers of years or numbers of films that you have been working so far. They, when they are selecting a member, they always screening, or they always looking after that particular person about the standard and quality of the film that has been made, like that. So after watching that only, they decided whether this person is eligible or not. So like, after that only they are deciding it. So in that, from that sense, I think this is really, really a great honor for me, and then that is one of the bestest thing that happened to my life during my this film career.
And so, not just that, you also won the 63rd annual MPSC Golden Reel Awards. So, like, tell us about that.
Yeah, so that's MPSC is also American award. Actually, MPSC is the full meaning is Motion Picture Sound Editor. So that, like, it is a motion picture sound editors organizations. So all the sound editors and sound designers around the world are, being a part of these organizations, who are members, like, so basically this is Hollywood based organizations, MPSC, motion picture sound editors. So see, whatever if whenever you're watching any film, like, whether it's a film like Jurassic Park or Avatar or Lord of the Rings, or film like Troy, or any big films or any Hollywood films, so whoever is doing the sound design, they are the members of this MPSC, motion picture sound editor. So like, all big, great, talented, use sound designers or sound editors are members of the MPSC. So this MPSC is belongs to them. So I am also a member of that MPSC. And this MPSC organization, this MPSC is always, each and every year, they are organizing a award show, so to to give honor to their fraternities, whoever is doing their great work in each and everywhere. So this MPSC is especially for like sound designers or sound editors, and to getting a MPSC award is almost equivalent to getting a Oscar award, because in fact sometimes it is far difficult to get a MPSC award than the Oscars, because this particular MPSC award, these are selected by the top-notch sound editors and sound designers. So when you receive a MPSC award, which is almost equivalent to Oscars. So we have done one film called India's Daughter. So it's a
Yeah.
documentary film. So that film was actually produced by BBC London, and then that film was finally nominated, and finally we managed to got this great MPSC award for sound editing, and we were the first ever Indian to receive that award. Like our team, like myself,
For the
Resul
MPSC
Pookutty,
award.
Vijay Kumar, and
Oh, wow,
Sampath
that's
Alwar. So
wonderful.
these, yeah, so they basically giving this award to the sound team. Like, so there's a different categories. There's a documentary categories. There's a foreign film categories. So we have been nominated for 6 times in that particular award, and then this is the first time ever we received this award. I think it was in 2017 or maybe 18. I forgot the year actually.
But that's still so great, sir. Like the first Indians to be awarded this, it's a huge, huge honor. That too, coming from the Northeast, it's such a big deal.
Yeah, that is indeed a great honor, and then that entire award ceremony is completely different. You can't even match, you can't even come closer to any other awards. And then and you receive that award from the great Americans, sound editors in front of them in Hollywood. So that award always happening in Hollywood, just close to the Oscars. It is always happening 1 week ahead of Oscar award. So we went there and then we receiving that best sound editing award from the great editors from at their platform. So that is really beyond imagination for any sound editors like me.
Of
So
course.
that is one of the that is one of the good moment for me too.
And so you have worked with like so many production, like smaller and bigger ones. So which one do you prefer
Mhm.
more? Like the bigger productions where you have others working with you under you, or the smaller production where you have to do most of the work?
See, actually, when we talk about working platform or working standard, it doesn't make any sense whether you are working for a big production house or a small production house. It is depend on the production you are working with. Some big production may have a not good, may have some bad people, and sometimes it's difficult to work with them. And some small production may have a wonderful people to work with them too. So I can distinguish, or I can't say like it is always very good to work with big production house than a smaller production house or something like that. I think it is sometimes small productions houses are really very good, and sometimes big productions houses are also very good. But if we if I am going to talk about economic point of view, commercial
Hmm.
point of view, then it is always better to work with big production house because you are getting more money. And when you
Yeah.
comes to small production house, then you have to compromise commercially, like you have to
Hmm.
compromise the economic things. And then that is the only difference, like it's all about commercial issues and other stuff. Rest of the others, like I don't think, like yeah, it's a big production or a small production, there is a difference or something like that. I don't think so, because otherwise I could not even work in Assamese film, because I have done almost like 15 Assamese film. So these are not even small production, no, these are small individuals. Most of the Assamese films are made by small individuals, not even production house. So it is like if you talk about a Assamese film, then a big production is Bollywood. It is like a huge difference, because one, like even if I'm going to compare a song sequence of a Telugu film or Tamil film, you can make with the same money, you can make 4 Assamese film. The
Okay.
amount of money,
Hmm.
the amount of money that is
Hmm.
spent by Telugu film, it's a regional film, Telugu film, it's not national film, right? It's the amount of money they spend just for a song
Hmm.
in a Telugu film or in a Tamil film. The same amount of money, if you invest in Assam, you can make at least 4 Assamese film
Okay.
with good quality. So that's the difference between small and big budget. But otherwise, when you talk about quality and talk about aesthetic sense, it is
Hmm.
equally tough. In that sense, the same amount of hard work, same amount of aesthetics, same amount of aesthetics design. When I
Hmm.
do for a big in a big film, I have to do the same equal amount of hard work, same equal amount of thought process for Assamese film too.
Hmm.
So equal amount of energy I am spending on both the films, but
Yeah.
economically I'm benefited from the big films, but economically I am completely zero from doing a regional film. But there is a satisfaction is there, because when I am doing a Assamese film, I have a great satisfaction because it has a aesthetic value, it has a aesthetic sense, and it gives you aesthetic satisfaction when I do any regional film, whether it is Assamese film, Khasi films, Manipuri films, Bengali films, Gujarati films, Malayalam films. It gives immense pleasure to do those kind of films, because whatever you are doing it in terms of sound design is concerned, that is always remain as an art, and that can be hard, that can be watchable in many places entire world. And a distinguished literate people are going to watch those films, and those distinguished literate intellectual people can also see and listen your art too. So that's why it's given immense pleasure to do those kind of regional films. That's why we divide ourselves with like for big budget films. It is basically we are doing for money so that we can survive. We need to survive in Bombay because otherwise we can't survive. And Assamese film, Khasi films, or any regional films we are doing it, it gives us aesthetics pleasure.
Of course. And sir, you are also the sound designer of Assamese film Bhoga Khirki. So tell us about.
Yeah, Bhoga Kriki. Actually, I was always dreaming to work with respected Janubura sir because he is one of the biggest milestone and he's one of the biggest legend in terms of Assamese films is concerned. So that like every individual, whether he is a cameraman, a sound editor, or sound designer, or editor, or anyone, musician. So everybody wants to work with him, Janu Burasa. So I have immense respect for him. So that was one of the greatest things that happened to me. At least, I got the chance to work in his film as a sound designer because when he was doing Oporupa, I was like in a class 3 or 4 or something like that. When he was doing Hagorle Bohudur or when he was doing Halodia Sarai Baudan Khai. During Halodia Sarai Baudan Khai, I was like 10 years old. So I
Wow.
just imagine like now if if I would get the chance to work with him, so it would have been a big thing. I
Dream come
always
true.
thinking like that, and finally it came. It's finally it was happening to me. So
Hmm.
it was a wonderful moment, and the big thing is that you can see like left side that there was a Changmai sitting, and then right side is it was me,
Yeah.
and Sar is sitting behind, and then we both came from the same institute, and Janubra used to come our film school, and then he used to teach us about aesthetics of films and other stuff. And then it was indeed a great moment for us. And that was actually great photographs. Like
Hmm.
Devojit and Janubra sir and then myself are sitting there. So doing with him, it's that's why I'm saying, just few minutes back, I told you about like aesthetic satisfaction. So, Bhoga Kriki was a one of the Assamese film that lots of work I have done so far in that particular film, and it gives an immense pleasure to work with such a nice gentleman.
Yeah. And sir, also talking about films and sounds designing, you were talking about. I've come across one of your interviews where you have mentioned that you always carry a sound recorder with yourself. Like, is that true?
Yeah, sound recorder is like it's like my heart, like because I can't live with it without that sound recorder, so I did some strange things with that recorder, so I always carry that recorder with me, and then I even record whatever I found, whatever I've found. Immediately I went there and then record the sound. And my ears are very sensitive in that particular case. Sometimes I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, or 2 o'clock in the morning, or 3 o'clock in the morning, and immediately I went outside and then recorded the sound whenever I was in Assam, and even in Bombay also. It is always with me. You can see that small recorder. The
Hmm.
recorder is always with me. It's like a mobile, people are carrying mobile along with him, so that is always with me. Like whenever I move, like even if I'm going for vacation or if I'm going touring somewhere, I always carry that. And that was in Mazuli. It was in Mazuli. So
Oh,
that
this picture.
photographs you shown. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's a peak. So that was in Mazuli. So yeah, I always carry. Even now also, I always carry that recorder. It's always with me. And then whenever I get time, I recorded it. In fact, you can't believe that like I recorded baby song just from the beginning of the day, like because when my you know when my son was born in 5 years back, so immediately I recorded sound just after he came
Oh,
out.
that's so sweet.
So
That's really sweet.
yes, even I keep recording his sound, like one day baby cry, second day baby cry, third day baby cry. It's like that. So I recorded like first day onwards till 1 year. I continuously recording his baby crying sound. So and then I
Oh,
also use that baby crying sound, my son's baby crying sound, many films. Like because
oh,
whenever any film, whenever I'm doing any film, if there is a newborn baby was there, like going to be there, so I always immediately put my son's voice
the
into it.
sun's voice. Oh, that's really
Yeah.
nice. We're really happy to hear his
Yeah,
own
even
voice.
and even yeah, even big films also, like film like 2.0, film like 2.0, you can see like my son's voice is there. And
Oh,
Utpal Babu's film Isu. So there is a newborn baby is there. So my son's voice is there. And recently I have done Aimi Burwa's film Sam Kaur. And they are also the newborn baby is there, so my son's voice is there, so it's like that.
So does he
So I
know
always
about?
record.
No, so like I was saying, does he know about this? Like, does he hear his voice on TV or something? He'll be so amazed to
Yeah,
listen. No,
yeah. You can. Yeah, yeah.
he does. Oh, that's really nice. And also, sir,
Yeah,
like,
because we showed him that particular scene 2 3 times when his voice is
no,
coming out, and like even though he's like 6 years old now, so even though he knows, like sometimes he also carried a recorder and he
no.
trying to record his sister, like like
Hmm.
his sister's voice, and also he also give announcement into it, like because 1 day baby cry, 2 day baby cry, it's like that.
That's really sweet and passionate. And also, sir, like when you do record a sound in crowded places, like if you have to shot, if there is a scene in a crowded place, how do you avoid the noise and everything?
See, it is some in big films, like in big budget films, those crowd are actually junior artists.
Hmm.
Like if it's happening in a big film, in case of a big film, the shoot is happening, they created the market, artificial market. They bring all those junior artists, so it is very easy to handle because all are artists. They know that they don't need to create any sound, or they know that they don't need to create any noise. So they create places in that way, like because the market is a fake market. It is like the production design is the making this market, and then like all the cows you can see, like who is buying and selling and all this stuff, these are all artists in terms of big production house is concerned. But when small budget films are there, like if in case of Assamese film or in case of a Khasi film or something, it's very difficult because you can see there's a Khasi film called Ido. Ido means like that we commonly known as a big bazaar in Shillong.
Yeah.
So that Udo was entirely done, entirely shot on that particular area. So it is all crowd. So that entire sound, that entire location sound was done by my junior deposit guy, and he did an outstanding work. And because of that, he received national award for this year, and I am really very proud of him. And yeah, it is difficult to do say, shooting in that particular place. It's difficult to record sound in particular those places because so many noise, so many things are happening. So basically in that case we it's depend on like how we can move on, like because we mostly we trying to rely on the lapel mic, that lapel
Hmm.
mic that were always fixed inside the shards or any clothes inside. So we basically rely on that, and accordingly we record those sounds. And if there is some problems and there is some noise or something is coming out in that particular place, then just after the shot taken, we record it immediately wild up, and we're trying to replace that wildlife with the original sounds. So it's like that.
All right. And
Because I'm just explaining to you quickly because it is an elaborate thing. Like if I'm going to explain about how to do this, it will take
I
another
understand.
half an hour for that.
And also, so for our next question, we would actually like to show you a picture of yours. You're surrounded by students in a classroom. And if you remember that picture, sir, I'd like to request our technical team to show it on the screen.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, you were there in the center of
Uh,
class, as we can see, surrounded by students. Like, what was happening there?
okay. See, this is actually, that particular class. Actually, I was teaching them about the aesthetics of sound. Actually,
Okay.
I was doing it in my college where I completed my graduation in physics.
Okay.
So it was at Jagannath Burwa College, Jorhat, which is popularly known as JV College, and this is the great college where I spent 5 years of my golden time. And I came out from this college with physics as honor subject, and I went back to this college 3 year or 4 years back, and then there is a I think not after 3 after last I think 3 years back I went there, and then I'm just taking a class of aesthetics of sound design and sound art in filmmaking because JV College introducing a film course, which is a pass course
Oh,
actually, which is not an honors course, it's a pass course. So any stream student, like any arts stream student, can take film subject as a pass course there.
hmm.
So I was invited for taking these classes, so I went there. And then another thing is that I am also the member of the academic council for film studies in JB College.
Oh wow, that's so nice, sir. It's so nice to so would be so nice to go back to your college and to the same classes where you studied with all these new young students. That's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, that's
And
yeah.
so we have another picture of yours we'd like to show you. You are receiving an award, and would you tell us about like you were there? Oh, I really like that our technical crew to play the picture. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, what?
Okay. See, I think this is yeah, this is any, I think 2019 or 2000 maybe 18. I was receiving Assam Govt State Film Award for Best Sound Design for the films Village Rockstar and Issue, I think, and that was my first ever state award from Assam. Before that, I received a state award from Maharashtra and Govt, but that was my first ever. Yeah, Goa and Maharashtra state award I already received, but that was the first ever uh, Assam State Film Award, and I got it for, I think, Village Rockstar and Issue.
Okay. And so you have been in this field for over a decade now, and it's been such a long journey. So what are your future
Mhm.
plans with this field?
See, future plan in the sense like one day I want to go back to Assam because that was the place I belongs to, and definitely once film school in the sense like sound design school, like, which is like especially specialize in the art of sound editing, sound design. So that is my dream. I'm not sure like whether this dream will come true or not, but after maybe 10 years or maybe 15 years, by the grace of God, if
Hmm.
everything is going to be fine, then definitely I would come back to Assam. That is my plan already. And once I'll
Hmm.
come back to Assam, I want to concentrate especially in Assamese film, so that I can give full time to Assamese film. And along with that, I have a plan to open a school of sound design, which is specially going to teach the newcomers about the basics of sound editing and sound design and sound premixing and all this stuff.
Yes, sir. I
So
don't
that is my
think
dream.
there is a school for sound design in Assam right now, if I'm not wrong.
I don't think so. Actually, there is no specific school for sound design. So there is a school for sound engineering and editing. Okay, sound engineering, but there is no specific, especially there is no school for sound designing. So I just want to start a school of sound design where I want to specialize about the art of sound design in filmmaking in filmmaking process.
Okay. And so since you have been in this field and you're so successful now, so would you recommend sound designing as a professional career choice for young people?
Yeah, definitely. See, like what I am doing, everybody can do it, and then everyone can do it. Like if you have really, if you're really interested about the profession, if you're really interested to be there in film industry and want to do this, then definitely everybody would definitely love to come and start this work. But I would like to tell you something, that when you are going to do, or when you are planning to do, or when you are wishing, or even you are planning in, I am going to be sound editor or sound designer, something like that, then you have to think that once you are into this profession, no, there is no specific time for relaxation at any stage, and there is no specific job. It is not like government job, it is not like corporate job, it is not like some company job or something like that. It is not about 9 to 6 or 10 to 5 job. This job has no specific time, it only runs by the deadline. So each and every work there is a deadline, and by who can cook, you have to finish that work within that particular time. Apart from that, it is not about finishing the work fast. It is also you have to finish the work within that particular time with standard and quality to sustain in this work, because each and every time you have to run, so there is no time to stop and turn your back, because once you be here, so there is no time, there is no Sunday, there is no weekend. So you have to think about that. and then you should come. And anybody can come, anybody can work, and anybody can reach to any level if he or she can fully dedicated and fully focus on that particular sound editing and sound design. But the rest of the others are negative point. I am telling you कि you have to avoid about time and all the अरे इतना time जा रहा है नहीं करेंगे. It is not like that. मेरे को घर जाना है, so वो सब नहीं चलेगा. काम finish करो, then you will go home, you know. मेरे को घर जाना है, घर में बच्चा है, बीवी है, नाना है, नानी है, वो सब नहीं चलेगा. So so once you have to finish the work, you have to finish the work. After finishing the work, you can go to anywhere, like, you know. So it is not always like, you know, you have to be in that situation, because suppose like you have to finish a job like by 10th of November or 15th of November. After 15th of November, you can you have the, you know, you have all the facilities, like, you know, you can go for 10 days vacation, you can go for 1 month vacation, you can go for 2 month vacation also, depending on that. So after you finishing the job, you can go to anywhere, like, you know, it is up to you.
So, would you like to give any last messages to aspiring sound designers from the Northeast or from any part of the country in general?
See, whatever I told you just before, just
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah,
So it is exactly same, you know, because I'm telling you, ki anybody can be a sound designer or sound editor. For that, you don't need to be even like, you know, have a master degree, or you don't need to have any graduate, any graduation. You don't need to be anyone, anything. Even if you're not learning, even if you don't have a degree or qualification, even if you're just a matriculate, you just a 10 pass, then also you can be an outstanding sound designer, because it is a aesthetic world. Apart from technology, we are creating a art. We are creating art with the help of the technology. So here technology is supporting us to create the creating some different aesthetic art. So it is, so that we are just using, since it's called engineering also, we are just using the engineering, we are using the computer, we are using this different softwares. That is a technical part only. Apart from that technical part, the rest of the all are aesthetic part. It is all about creation. Each and every moment, each and every second, you have to think and you have to create something new, and accordingly you have to move on. So when it comes to creativity, I don't think and I don't believe that you need to have some kind of degree or education or something like that. If you're really very much interested in particular subject, then definitely you can move on. So that sound design is almost same. So it is an art. It is an art. This time you are using the technology. Technology means we are. I'm telling you, okay, computer is a technology, right? So you know that basic technology. Then you can create all those great things when you are doing this. So when I came to
yeah,
Mumbai, I didn't even know how to use the mouse. Forget about starting the computer and closing that. I didn't even know how to use the mouse. But now I'm working on computers. I'm computer because I don't need to know how computer functions. I just need to know how my software functions. Like the platform on which I'm working is called Pro Tools.
yeah,
It's the audio software, Pro Tools. So I just need to know about how Pro Tools work. I don't need to know, like, you know, how computer works. So with
yeah,
help of that platform, that workstation, I am just creating my artistic world, you know. So it is like, you know, it is just like a audio painting. When you talk about sound designing, it is just a audio painting. That means the way that the artists are using different colors like yellow, like red colors, black colors, green colors, they combine together and they're creating a nice canvas. Same way we're creating a canvas, we're creating a canvas with the help of bird sound, with the help of sea wave sound, with the help of rain sound, with the help of some songs, with the help of some wind, with the help of some wind on leaves. We're just using all the different kind of audios, like, you know, wind or water or river sound or stream sound all together, and we're creating audio painting. And that audio painting means each and every scene is like a audio painting for us. When we walk in a film, so we have to work frame by frame. So that means you might be watching a film and it's taking only maybe 2 hours or maybe 1.5 hours, right?
yeah.
To complete that film for the audience, we need to watch a film sometimes more than 1,000 times. So
Oh my God.
जो फिल्म आप लोग 2 घंटा देखते हैं, 2 घंटा आप लोग एक फॉर 1.5 आवर्स आप लोग देखते हैं, एक बार
Hmm.
देखते हैं सेम फिल्म आप लोग को दिखाने के लिए हम लोग को कम से कम 1000 बार देखना पड़ता है मतलब वी हैव टू वॉच दैट फिल्म मोर देन
Yeah.
1000 टाइम so so we can memorize each and every frame by the end of the film and so it's like that so I think anybody can come and anybody can work so it is all about hard work and dedication that's all.
That was such a beautiful message, sir. And thank you so much for imparting so much knowledge to all our viewers watching, and to me as well. That was, wonderful. And congratulations, sir, for achieving so much in life. Everybody, you have set a great example for all the people of Northeast and India. You're you have achieved such great awards, and you're part of the Oscar committee. And you have come to our show, so it's a big achievement for us also, and it's a big honor to have you on our show. So thank you very much, sir, for our today's session, for attending this 1 hour session with us today.
Thank you so much from my side also for giving me this platform to reach people. It is a great time that I spent with you and then also expressed a lot of things. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We also had a great time with you, and have a great evening, sir.
Thank you.
Amrit Pritam Dutta is a National Film Award winning sound designer born and raised in Assam's Jorhat district. After completing his education in 2002, Mr. Dutta moved to Mumbai and started working in films as a FX Foley track layer, dialogue cleaner, premixer, production mixer, and sound editor. Amrit Pritam has worked in the sound department of over 140 films in a variety of languages like Hindi, English, Assamese, Malayalam, Tamil, Marathi, Telugu, Kannada, Gujarati, Khasi, Bodo, Dimasa, and Tiwa. Many of these films have won the National Film Awards as well as awards in international film festivals in a variety of categories, and some went on to become super box office hits. Amrit Pritam Dutta has worked closely with Resul Pookutty in the Oscar-winning Slumdog Millionaire. Apart from this, Mr. Dutta worked as a sound designer in a number of renowned movies like Kaabil, Highway, Ra.One, Chittagong, Ghajini, Blue, English Vinglish, Margarita with a Straw, Akhondeki, A Rainy Day, Omkara, Black, Makbul, Mangal Pandey, India's Daughter, PK, to name a few. He is also a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, also known as the Oscar, as well as the Motion Picture Sound Editors USA. Not just this, Amrit Pritam Dutta has also been conferred with awards by the state governments of Assam, Goa, and Maharashtra. With his uncountable achievements, Amrit Pritam continues to make the entire Northeast and the country proud.